August 1975. Madrid. Dozens of German veterans raise their arms in stiff, unified Nazi salutes over a coffin. Inside lies Otto Skorzeny, the scarred giant known as Hitler's favorite commando. He earned that reputation by pulling off a nearly impossible glider assault to rescue Benito Mussolini from an Italian mountaintop. But hidden in that crowd of saluting veterans is a man who absolutely does not belong, an Austrian Jew named Josef Rahn. He isn't there for revenge. He's paying respects to the Nazi war criminal he personally recruited as an assassin for the Israeli Mossad. The paradox of that funeral points directly to a much larger mystery. How did a man with such an infamous, highly documented life leave absolutely no historical legacy behind? If you look at the top tier of the Nazi elite, their post-war footprints follow a predictable pattern. Their families held on to acquired wealth, maintained quiet networks to protect properties, and fiercely guarded their personal archives for generations. Skorzeny's current footprint is a void. He has an unvisited grave, a bloodline with no heirs to carry his name, and a completely vanished physical archive. Allied intelligence and post-war tribunals didn't erase Hitler's top commando. To understand how his history was systematically dismantled, we have to forensically examine the prime suspects, his own family. To understand this behavior, look at this flowchart mapping his interpersonal strategy. Skorzeny approached human relationships the exact same way he approached a military target. People were acquisitions. You extract their value, and the moment they stop being useful, you discard them. Take his first marriage in May 1934 to Margarita Schreiber. As an ambitious young engineer, he married into her father's highly successful scaffolding company. Within 3 years, he secured a controlling interest in the business, extracted the capital he needed to fund his rise through Austrian Nazi circles, and promptly divorced her. By 1939, he found a more valuable connection in Emmy Linhardt. This was a strategic alliance. Emmy was the niece of Hjalmar Schacht, Hitler's finance minister and the architect of the Nazi economic machine. Marrying Emmy linked Skorzeny directly into the regime's elite financial networks. When the war ended, the calculation changed. Captured and tried for war crimes at Nuremberg, Skorzeny eventually escaped an internment camp in 1948 and went underground. A fugitive needs to vanish, and a wife and young child are massive liabilities. In 1950, he divorced Emmy. That cold abandonment created the first major void in his legacy. After the divorce, the niece of a Reich minister simply evaporated from the historical record. No death date, no remarriage record, no obituary. Then there is Waltraud, Skorzeny's only child, born in 1940. Growing up as the daughter of the man newspapers labeled the most dangerous man in Europe, carries an inescapable psychological burden. Other children of the Nazi elite spent their lives publicly wrestling with their surnames. Albert Speer's son spent his entire career as an architect, operating in the shadow of his father's crimes. The children of Hans Frank, the Governor-General of occupied Poland, navigated their inheritance by writing public memoirs condemning their father as a monster. They kept the records, engaged with the history, and thought it out in the open. Waltraud took an entirely different path. At some point, she married a man named Rie, took his surname, and completely vanished from public life. There are no interviews, no photographs past childhood, and no verified descendants to trace. In an era of digitized records and obsessive genealogy, Waltraud proved that the most foolproof way to escape a toxic Nazi inheritance isn't public confrontation. It is engineered absolute erasure. While hiding in a Bavarian farmhouse in 1948, Skorzeny met Ilse Luce. She was also a niece of Hjalmar Schacht, perfectly fitting his strategic profile. They married in 1954, but Ilse became the active public face of his sprawling post-war business empire across Spain and Ireland. According to declassified Mossad files, they maintained an open relationship. That arrangement provided Israeli intelligence the exact backdoor they needed to infiltrate Skorzeny's inner circle in the early 1960s, using an agent to cultivate an intimate friendship with Ilse. Through her, they reached Otto. The former SS officer agreed to work for the Jewish state, providing critical intelligence to hunt down Nazi scientists operating inside Egypt's missile program. When Skorzeny died of lung cancer in 1975, he left Ilse a massive physical hoard documenting his double life. She inherited the gold watch Mussolini gave him, his 13 fake passports, and 60 years of highly sensitive correspondence with SS comrades and international intelligence assets. This left an elderly, childless widow sitting alone in a Madrid villa. Ilse was now the sole, unprotected guardian of one of the most sensitive historical archives in post-war Europe. By the late 1990s, Ilse was isolated. Her husband was 20 years dead, her stepdaughter had erased herself, and the protective network of former Nazis had largely died off. A Spanish businessman recognized an unprotected mark. He slowly befriended her, gradually took control of her daily affairs, and made himself indispensable to an old woman with no one else to rely on. The exploitation was total. In 1999, she signed a new will, leaving him everything. By the time she died in 2002, the widow of Europe's most notorious commando was completely bankrupt, living her final days in a nursing home supported by the charity of the very man who defrauded her. This map visualizes the final fate of Skorzeny's archive. Instead of being preserved in a single collection, the node is splintering apart. The con artist had zero interest in history. He just wanted cash. He systematically fenced the collection, selling off the passports, intimate letters, and photographs piece by piece on the antiquities market. Allied forces failed to destroy the records of Hitler's top commando during the war. Instead, a local grifter scattered the answers to Skorzeny's post-war intelligence work to the winds for petty cash. Which brings us back to his ashes, interred in Group 32, Row 7, Number 32, at a cemetery in Vienna. It is a grave no family ever visits. He alienated his first wife, his second wife evaporated, his daughter engineered her own disappearance, his widow died swindled and alone. Historical legacies require loyal heirs willing to protect them. Otto Skorzeny built his entire existence on ruthlessness, using every person in his life as a transactional resource. By living a purely transactional life, he guaranteed his own historical extinction the exact moment those transactions stopped.